Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Docsports MLB Triple Play Show. I am Griffin Murphy. Besides me is Doug Upstone, and we are Docsports. In this show, we will be covering the American League Central Division. We will be giving series predictions, free play predictions, game and player prop predictions, and, of course, our Friday night best bet. Coming off of last week, I am not happy with my results by any means, but since starting the show, currently, Doug, I am 12-10 overall, but I'm looking for a massive bounce back week coming into this weekend. And you guys are going to see that with the play that I have coming at you guys as I am in Chicago. We are covering the AL Central Division. And of course, the White Sox are in that AL Central Division. So we will be getting into that, and you guys will see where we roll with that. Doug, how'd you do on the show last week?
Well, once again, 2-1. That's 3 weeks in a row. So it's kind of like good news and bad news because I want that 3-0, Griffin. So
I know.
So hey, but you know what? If in life, if you go 2-1 every day, that's a pretty good day. So I'm good. I'm glad about that and being able to deliver. But hey, let's just see if we can get the 3-0 and make it just that much sweeter.
Let's look for that 3-0 sweep this weekend, Doug. Diving right into the AL Central, we are going to start with my Chicago White Sox. Well, let's just say it how it is, ladies and gentlemen. This team is as bad as it gets in baseball. They are a AAA team, a farm team in my eyes. 22-61 on the season, at home this season, and they have a series coming up right now against Colorado at home. 14-28. They're 23rd in batting average against when it comes to the pitching side of things. I'm telling you guys this for a specific reason that is coming up in a minute. They are 30th in the MLB when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, averaging just 3 runs per game. They have absolutely no power in their lineup, and they have one good pitcher, and that is Garrett Crochet. For me, this is a bet-off team. Stay away. I will not be touching the Chicago White Sox whatsoever as far as putting my wager on them to win a side game. Doug, what are your thoughts with this brutal Chicago White Sox team right now?
Yeah, it's hard to beat a dead horse, right? It feels like, it's just like piling on, fish in a barrel, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? They're being outscored by 2.1 runs per game. What can you say? Now you like Crochet, you just Crochet. I think Fetty's not bad, but the problem is that with them is then even if they pitch well, then you have to go to their bullpen, which hasn't done the job. But here's the thing, okay? I'm going to add at least a possible, let's just say a little bit of a positive spin, or maybe not as negative a spin. They're going to have days like yesterday, okay? Mm-hmm. So they faced Chris Sale in Atlanta. They win the game 1-0. And in this case, so how I'm looking at it is that, yesterday's line was really interesting. And this is something you should pay attention to as a bettor if you want to bet against the White Sox on the run line, which I would suggest that would be a good way to go about it because big lines are going to just follow them on money lines for sure on this one. But yesterday, the White Sox Atlanta was minus 300, but yet their run line was minus 180. So the disparity there was huge. So that means there was a ton of bets on the run line against the White Sox or for Atlanta. But that disparity is too great. You can't do that. I mean, any run line should be basically a 2-to-1 ratio. So with that in mind, I look for fair odds when going against the White Sox. And my personal opinion, I wouldn't go over 150 on a run line against the White Sox or pretty much any team for that matter. From that standpoint, that's you're giving points and a good sized number on that one. So that's my take on the White Sox. Play against them. Just find numbers that make sense for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with anything you said, Doug, and including I did forget Eric Fetty. That is another stud pitcher the Sox do have. If you ever want to look to bet on the White Sox, you need to take them first 5. Crochet's got to be on the bump or Fetty's got to be on the bump, and it's got to be against a team with Crochet's on the bump. It's got to be against a team who is not hitting left-handed pitching whatsoever. And you are also going to be expecting a very low-scoring first 5 innings inside of that. So that could be another thing to entail is taking the under inside of that first 5-inning bet. But let's shift gears right on over to the Royals right now. The Royals are kind of in a debacle, and Doug, you called this out from the beginning of the season, and I'm going to jump on it right now, and then I'll pass it over to you. This team, 45-38 on the year. 4-6 in their last 10 games. They opened up the month of April going 17-11. They followed up by May going 17-11. Now June, 10-14. The regress mode has finally begun. Doug, you mentioned this way earlier on in the season. I believe it is finally starting to happen. They are currently ranked 16th in batting average against on the pitching side of things. Teams are hitting 241 against their pitching. They have now followed by, or I'm sorry, they have followed a 269 batting average in the month of May, and they're now hitting just 218 in the month of June. So that is a gigantic differentiation from going from batting 269 in May to 218 in June. We're talking about a lot of offense productivity that has completely fallen down. This is a scout team in my eyes. They are straight regression mode. I will be attacking this team as a better right now on side thing. Doug, what are your thoughts with the Royals right now?
Yeah, you mentioned that, how well they played early. And now they did win yesterday against Cleveland, which was a nice win, but they're still only 5-12 recently. The thing with the bullpen is a big problem also, besides the hitting. Bullpen's in the low 20s in terms of ERA, so they're just not getting the job done. The starting pitching is good. I mean, it's top 6 in several different categories. But as you mentioned, man, the offense is just fallen off the cliff. They have scored 3 runs or less in 11 of their last 17 games. And if you look at the lineup and you look at it good, you see Bobby Witt Jr., you see Salvador Perez, and then you see, there's just nobody there. And they were getting production from other guys early in the season. So that's really what the difference is. And so as good as Witt and Perez can be, if there's nobody on base other than just them, you're not going to get much done. Still, this team is a very good home favorite. I want to say 28-15 now after yesterday's win. So if you're going to bet Kansas City, bet them at home, and more specifically, probably best as a favorite as well.
Yes, I agree with you, Doug, there as well. And a big pickup for them. They have Michael Massey, who was on the DL. He's finally back in the lineup, which is something that you could pay attention to. He's a phenomenal offensive player that really puts some good outlook on them. So you want to watch them again, see how they perform with Massey, give them a couple series, give them a couple days. And again, like Doug said, they're great at home. So if you are going to bet on them, take them at home. But shifting into the next team, let's talk about this Guardians team. Right now, best team in the AL Central. It's their division to lose in my eyes. They're a very potent team across the board. Kwan, he's back and he is healthy. Jimenez, phenomenal 2-spot hitter. You've got Ramirez, he's slugging. Both of the Naylor brothers, they're slugging. The team is stacked. They're winning ball games, game in, game out. And this is without Shane Bieber, who's still on the DL. Teams against them are hitting just 229 against their pitching staff, which ranks them 6th in the MLB. That's backed up by a phenomenal offensive star power team who is currently ranked 2nd in the MLB when it comes to offensive runs per game, averaging 5 runs per game. And a free play for tonight. They play the Royals. Tristan McKenzie is going to be getting the start. He's backed up by a team that I just mentioned, averages 5 runs a game, coming off a 2-1 loss last night. This is a bounce-back game for the Guardians. Give me the Guardians tonight on the money line over the Royals at a -110 line. Doug, what are your thoughts on this Guardians team as of right now?
Yeah, I'm actually running out of superlatives. What to say? I mean, you said number 2 in offense, number 3 and runs allowed. I mean, this team has just got it all together. And if you look at that, if you add the 2 combinations together, so we just said 2 and 3 to equal 5. The Dodgers also have a 5, and Philadelphia has a 4. Okay, so I mean, they're legit. I mean, more than anything else you want to look at. The offense has a lot of versatility. Just throw some numbers at you here. They are number 7 in extra base hits. They're number 7 in home runs. They're 5th in fewest strikeouts taken, 7th in stolen bases. And here's one that's a little bit odd. They're number 1 in runners left on base. And the reason I say that it's odd, typically when teams hit this well, they leave a lot of guys on base because they got a lot of guys on base. Yeah. So they're super efficient right now offensively. Will that hold up? I'm going to say no. Okay, on that one, I still think they could be very good offensively, but to be this efficient, that just seems a little bit improbable. So if you're not looking to bet Cleveland literally every single day, except for when Carlos Carrasco pitches, okay, I think you're missing out. Okay, I mean it's right there to do. So look at the Guardians every single day and see if you get the right numbers and things work out. And I think you could make yourself some good money backing them.
I'm not going to add anything on top of that, Doug. You absolutely smashed it, especially with Quan back in the lineup. I think that this team is most definitely a bet on team on the run line. Just got to find the right matchup and the right values. But let's shift gears right on over here to the Detroit Tigers, Doug. And I have to say the loss on the offensive side with Kerry Carpenter has really put a hurt on this team. This is a young kid, and he really swings the bat well from the left side. This guy can hit the long ball. He hits gappers. He does everything very potently for this team. And without him, they've really taken a curve to the downside. Detroit right now is 37-44 on the year. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've dropped 2 games in a row. They just finished up a very tough series with Philadelphia. Now down 1-0 in a 4-game set against the Los Angeles Angels. Then they have to travel to Minnesota to play the Twins. This team is completely descending in my eyes. They went 14-13 in April. They went 11-16 in May. Now June, 9-15. Team's batting average decline. Let's talk about this. In the month of April, 225. In the month of May, 243. Now they're back to 220. That's without the loss of Kerry Carpenter, and that's what happens to this team. They need Carpenter in the lineup. They need a swinger. They need somebody on the offensive side. Whether it's a day game, night game, home game, or away game, as a team, they are not hitting above 240. I'm not saying there's not value with this team, but they have to get it together first. I am never afraid to bet on the Detroit Tigers because they do have sneaky power in that lineup. But right now, for me, they are more so a fade team in my eyes. Doug, what are your thoughts with this team and the way they've been performing?
Yeah, I agree with you, Griffin, on this one. They have playoff ability starting pitchers with Skubal, sure, Olsen, and Flaherty. Okay. I mean, those guys are good. Bullpen, though, is average at best, and they are doing a horrible job in holding on to leads because they got 16 saves and 16 blown saves. Okay. And then you look at that everyday lineup. You're talking about Carpenter. Okay. So he's out of the equation. So that leaves Riley Green, and that's it. Okay. I mean, the comparisons between them and Kansas City are pretty similar. Okay. At least offensively, and especially right now. So they just don't do a good job. Here's the thing, though, that's a little bit odd. Okay. They're 43-36 over. Okay. This season. So you'd think with that problem on offense, you wouldn't get as much of that, but you know what it is? It's the bullpen. Okay. Yeah. That's what's causing the overs. So I guess you could take a look at this team game by game, but I would more hone in when Skubal pitches. Take your best shot. Okay. Yeah. See who they're playing, see who he's pitching against, get some decent odds on that, and just roll with it that way.
Yeah, Doug, I love where you go with the Skubal action because Skubal is my first 5-inning guy. That is why I just said they're not completely out of the equation on a side. Right. But when Skubal is on the bump, Flaherty's on the bump, and they're playing a solid team, they're absolutely capable in the first 5 innings of scoring you 2 to 3 runs and really getting a nice stout pitching performance out of Flaherty and Skubal. So I love where you went with that, Doug. First 5-inning team for me right now. Other than that, I'm kind of going to be fading. But I want to jump into this Minnesota Twins team right now. They're playing real consistent baseball. They're second in the AL Central on the year. They're 7 games back behind the Guardians. They started off real cold in April. They went 14-12, but it was their offense hitting 238 as a team. In June, right now, this Twins team hitting almost 290 as a club, hitting 287 to be exact. That is as high as it gets in baseball right now. Where you want to look to bet on this team is when they are playing at home, and during day games. They have a home record of 23-16 and a day game record of 23-15. They're combined hitting and during day games and at home hitting 251 as a club. If you can find this team during day games against facing left-handed pitching as well, they're hitting 283 as a club. And listen, I'm not ruling the Twins out of the division by any means. They are trending upwards and playing very strong baseball consistently, but they are trailing the Guardians, and we are going to have to see if we're going to see a form of regression out of the Guardians, and Minnesota can sustain that consistent baseball that they're playing right now. Doug, what are your thoughts right now with this Minnesota Twins team? Are they out of it? Can they win this AL Central? What is it going to take for them?
Yeah, well, what they got to do is settle down. Okay, that's what they got to do, because here's the thing. So you just mentioned, I mean, they were just here in the Phoenix area. They clobbered Arizona pitching for 25 runs in 3 games, won the series. All right, so they do that. But for me, when I look at this team in terms of what they do, I'm doing this. I'm seeing double, because they're the Twins. Okay, they can pitch great, they can hit great, they can do everything, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they can't hit, they can't pitch, they leave runners on base, and they give up a bunch of runs. Yep. So here's my recommendation on Minnesota. They're going really good right now. I look this one up. I actually like this one. The Twins have either won 3 in a row or lost 3 in a row. Okay, so and that has to be exactly those games. That's a sequence. When they have done that, they follow the same path, okay, as to what they just did, because they're 22-9 in those games.
Wow.
Okay, so if they win 3, they tend to win 4. If they lose 3 in a row, they tend to lose 4. I mean, the 4th game. So it's really weird. Because they've been streaky, and so then I just thought, I'm going to look this up, and lo and behold, so that's a good. Is it going to hold up? I don't know, but it's certainly something to look for. Okay, if you're betting, because they're giving you the information as to what they're doing. They're up or they're down, and so right now they're up, and it's going to be a really interesting series for them, I think, at Seattle this weekend. So I'm kind of looking forward to see what they do there.
Absolutely, Doug. That was some outstanding information. I love that, man. I'm going to be keying that out as well, going even deeper. But let's jump right into these game props. And you know what? I'll lead this one off. Everybody knows I love my first inning quick bursts, those Yerfy Nerfies. Yerfy means yes runs first inning. Nerfy means no runs first inning. In this game prop, I have one of those coming at you, and it's between the Houston Astros and the New York Mets. For the Mets, Jose Quintana will get the start. He tosses from the left side. Houston does hit left-handed pitching well, but Quintana is very consistent. He's a very consistent first 5 pitcher as well. Houston, they also hit their worst during night games. And Quintana's last outing, he went 6 innings, allowing just 4 hits and 1 run. So he is consistent. He's pitching well right now. Houston, they don't hit their best during night games as well as against left-handed pitching. And then on the other side for Houston, well, they've got Blanco on the bump. New York's never faced him, so it's a new look for them. He's 8-2 on the year with a 2.32 ERA. His last outing, he faced Baltimore, best hitting team in baseball on a metric standpoint. He went a full 7 innings, allowing just 4 hits and 1 run. He's been consistent all year. Quintana, just as I mentioned, he's consistent. I love the Nerfy in this matchup. No runs to come across the plate in the first inning of this game. That is my free play coming at you guys right now. Doug, what do you got rolling around?
Boy, does that make perfect sense to me on that. So yes, everybody pay attention to what Griffin just said on that one. And hopefully I can make some sense to you too. Okay, going to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers' Colin Ray. And he was supposed to start Wednesday, and then he was pulled for, of all people, Dallas Keuchel. Yikes. Okay? He was pulled. They signed him. So he has ample rest. His last game was a week ago that he started. Ray is a huge surprise for the Brewers. He's 33 years old. He's 5-2 with a 3.86 ERA as a starter. The Brewers have won 9 of his 14 starts, and that includes a superb 6-1 at American Family Field. Ray has faced the Cubs 3 times. The first one was 8 years ago, so we'll kind of let that one go. Sure. But in the last 2, okay, he's given up just 1 run against the Cubs. Now, I'm looking at this one. Milwaukee is 25-12 at home. The Cubs are 16-26 on the road. Ray averages 6 runs per game at home. 6 runs, 6 innings. Okay, per game at home. So I'm going to go over 17.5 outs for Colin Ray of the Milwaukee Brewers against the Chicago Cubs tonight.
I love it, man. And pulling for Keuchel, how about that? I thought we've seen enough of this guy in the major leagues, man. I see his name back on the StatCast, and I'm like, oh, God, here we go again. Keuchel's getting another shot. But anyways,
that blew me away, man.
Let's jump right into these series predictions. And this is why I am promising you guys, I am giving you my best right here, because I am giving you a series prediction over my own Chicago White Sox right now. I will be taking the Colorado Rockies to beat the Chicago White Sox in this series at a +110. Colorado, their biggest issue this season is their pitching. They actually have a decent offense. They just can't pitch. Chicago, well, they can't do either. Right now, the White Sox run differential as a team is the worst in baseball. It is a minus 171 run differential, which is absolutely pathetic. I can only see the White Sox opportunity to win one of these games is on Sunday where Crochet's on the bump, but Colorado hits their best against left-handed pitching, so that may be a factor as well. The White Sox, there's as bad of a team as it gets other than the Colorado Rockies, but I like the Colorado Rockies in this series to come into Chicago and clean them up and take the series at a +110 value play. So, Doug, my series prediction is taking the Rockies on the series prediction +110. What do you got rolling over there?
Well, I just was talking about Colin Ray in Milwaukee, and I'm going to stick with the general premise of that. So Ray's pitching the first game, as I mentioned. I mentioned the Cubs and Brewers home road records, and I believe that will play into the outcome of the series. Even though I do think the Cubs have, at least for the first 5 or 6 innings, have a chance because Jameson Taillon has been excellent, okay, all season since he's been there. But here's the thing, bullpen, Milwaukee, absolutely superior to the Cubs, okay, in all phases, saves, runs allowed, the works, okay. So I think they'll win the first game on that one. Justin Steele goes for the Cubs in game 2. I think he gives them a shot. He started to get back into the groove. He really struggled coming off the IL because it was such a bad deal. First start, pulls the hamstring. He was out a month. So, I mean, just everything you just tried to accomplish in spring training, pretty much gone. So he had to start over again. But I think he'll be much, or he is much better right now. But by the same token, the Brew Crew has this Tobias Harris, and I've liked what I've seen here. So I don't think the Cubs are actually cash money for sure on this one. In the series finale, I got 2 words for you, Griffin: Kyle Hendricks. Okay, so with that in mind, he has a 6.87 ERA, a WHIP of 1.49, and I think the Brewers will keep those averages right where they are in the series finale. So give me Milwaukee minus 150 for the series price.
I love it, man. I love it. And let's jump right over. I will say, I feel like I'm sinning right now. I'm giving you guys a series prediction for my White Sox to lose right now. It's a sin. You know, as I'm doing it on the show, I'm rehearsing to myself saying, is this wrong of me? Is this wrong of me? But you know what? Whatever. We're going to pass it right over and jump over to the website right now. So, Doug, how have you been performing on the website as of late? How's everything been going? I know you were on that baseball tear. Are we still rolling?
Yeah, well, not as well as I was there, but I'm still been steady and good quality as well. 38 and 27, so that just been, kind of plugging along. Nothing fantastic, but just nice and steady. And if anything, that's the one thing about baseball that you like to do is that you're going to have high spots and you're going to have low spots, but if you can keep those low spots to a minimum, okay, then then the next time the hot one comes, then that's how you grow your bankroll. Okay, it's as simple as that. So yeah, so that has been very good. Props, I have to admit, I was doing fantastic, literally for 6 months, and I hit a speed bump, and so I've struggled a bit. But I had Montgomery under yesterday, and that was an easy winner against the Twins, so that was good. So I'm hoping that we're going to get things started there. And then here's a little touch of I don't even, maybe it's good fortune or bad, I'm not sure. So I'm back to doing horse racing now the Triple Crown races are over. So I'm back to doing that. Did it last Saturday and literally just missed by a nose of having a winning day. That's horse racing for you. But so I was going to have 2 races today. Okay. And so had them all set, did all my homework, everything else. So right before we had to submit our plays, I go to the daily racing form to check to see if there's any scratches. I had a scratch over the top horses in each race. Okay. So like I said, though, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Maybe somebody's looking after me. So nothing, but I'll for sure be back on Saturday with some more races on that one. So yeah, so things are going really well, Griffin. I'm happy. I'm turning it over to you. I know you have been red hot in a lot of sports right now.
Yeah, I've been tearing the cover off the baseball as of late, Doug. I will say, in my last 25 cards, I'm 18-7 for a profit of $9,230 in the short term. In the long term, 24 of 34 straight winning days on the baseball diamond. Tonight, I have a 5-unit best bet. That play goes off at 7:20 p.m. Eastern time. I have 3 plays on the diamond today, not including my prop plays. Shifting gears over to the props right now, when it comes to my MLB player and game props, 9-2 in my last 11 plays for $2,525 profit. We are rolling right now. And tonight, I have a 5-unit game prop, Yerfy Nerfy play. This play goes off at 6:50 p.m. Eastern time. You can check this all out on my Doc's bio. It's all posted up there. Soccer, we're hitting 61% on the season, 14-4 run in the MLS. And tonight, I have a 3-unit best bet in the soccer side of things, 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight, Doug. So we are absolutely rolling across all sports. The board is clean. It looks hot, and I am ready to roll. But let's jump right on over to what everybody's been waiting for, Doug, and I'll let you take this one, our Friday night best bets.
Well, what we're looking at is, I mentioned Minnesota, and they're involved in it against Seattle. Seattle is back home after a desultory road trip in which they went 3-6. Mariners, though, at home have been special, 27-12, third best record there. Logan Gilbert is going to get the start for them. 5-4 record, not great. 2.71 ERA, superb. And in his last 2 starts, both have which went 8 innings. No runs allowed. Okay, so he's been sterling. Now, Minnesota, as I mentioned, they head to the Northwest after scoring 25 runs in the Southwest here in Arizona. So they're coming in hot. Twins, like I said, have moved up to number 6 in runs scored. They're going to utilize Bailey Ober tonight. He's 7-4 with a 4.50 ERA, but he's coming off a complete game shutout against the Oakland A's in this one. But here's the thing. Pitchers that don't normally go deep into games that have that go 9 innings in a start, they tend to not do as well, okay, in the next start. I'm not saying they lose every time, but I'm just saying they don't do nearly as well, and they kind of get beat up a little bit. So I'm going to consider that, and then also the fact that when the money line is -125 to +125, like a team like Seattle's in, and they're coming off 3 games in which they batted 175 or worse, with a starting pitcher who has a whip of 0.80 or lower over his last 3 starts. Those teams are 27-10 the last 5 years. I'm going to take Seattle, Griffin, minus the 120.
Tremendous information, man. Tremendous. I love the play. Seattle, roll with it. My best bet coming at everybody right now will be taking the Guardians over the Kansas City Royals. Listen, we got Tristan McKenzie on the bump. This is a bounce back game. The Guardians, they're 31-20 during night games. In the month of June, they're hitting 260 as a team. As I mentioned, the Royals currently in a regress mode. This is an attack team for me, and I will be drilling the Guardians here at a very fair value price. Money line at a -110 line. That is my free play. And then just so everybody knows, you guys can get our plays for absolute free. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And just so you guys know, I will not be on the show next week. So obviously we have the 4th of July coming up. So next Friday, we will be off. The following Friday, the Docsports Triple Play Show will be back intact and remain. So once again, thank everybody for tuning in. I'm Griffin Murphy. This is Doug Upstone, and we are Docsports MLB Triple Play Show. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Take care.